What's up, tubers? Madam Roy back once again. Back to you with a live stream, live from the YMCA on Blute Street here in Norfolk. I had to take my buddy Jeff to an appointment, and you guys will be hearing a little bit more about that in the vlog, which I'll be uploading later on tonight. But I have literally an hour and a half to kill, so I figured, why not? Let's go ahead and do a live stream. I do apologize for the lighting conditions. I'm doing the best I possibly can, but this parking garage that I'm in is really, really dark, and yeah, that's about the best I can do. So let's see who's here. We've got 3 people so far. This is an open chat, open forum, open Q&A, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much, I don't have a specific subject that I want to talk about, so whatever you guys want to discuss, go ahead and let me know. Let me turn this on. You guys will hear me.
Pairing, phone 1 connected.
That way you guys should be able to hear me a little bit better. I always forget to use this. I got this little Bluetooth speaker here. Makes it a lot easier for you guys to hear me. Mark Covington asks, hey Matt, how did your father come along with his back surgery? I'm glad you guys asked me that. He's doing really well. Matter of fact, we're going to see him probably around 6:30 tonight. He did have to stay in the hospital one more night. We were expecting him to actually be released today, but they said there was a little too much drainage for their liking, so they're going to keep him in the hospital overnight again. So it's going to be a 2-day hospital stay. Hopefully you guys will get to see him in the vlog. I have every intention of going over there to visit him when we leave here. As long as there aren't any issues, yeah, you guys will get to see him in the vlog tonight. Captain Thunder Eye says hello. Hello to you. Stephen Barber is here. Asking about my dad. Yes, he's doing very, very well. And as usual, my stupid phone will not focus. I know I'm going to be positive. His phone just drives me crazy sometimes. You know what? Heck with it. Let's do this. I don't know if you guys remember from the vlog the other day, but for some reason, when I wear this hat, the phone has an easier time focusing when I wear my fedora. So let's go ahead and give that a try. And I may need to do something about the light. Hand. Is that any better? Actually, that's a little better if I do that. Yeah, let's do this. Ah, you lost me there. There we go. That's a little bit better, don't you think? Except you guys might see that light blink. That's the actual Bluetooth speaker that I'm using. Stephen Barber asks, are you in the Buick? I love the hat. Yes to both of those questions. I am in the Buick, and yeah, I love this hat too. Had a little bit of a hate with it, a vlog the other day, but you know what? Haters will hate. That's just what they do. So we got 5 people here. William McCullough says, hey Matt, good news on your dad. Well, thank you very much. It was very stressful for us. I'm not going to lie to you. This was a bad one, especially considering the surgery took 2 more hours than we originally expected. Originally, they said it was going to be a 2-hour surgery. It turned into a almost 4.5-hour surgery. And a lot of that just had to do with the fact there was so much reconstruction that they actually had to do on his back. I'm not going to go into great details. I don't know if he'd want me to, but he came through it just fine. So yes, thank you guys for your prayers. I know that helped him, and he is making a full recovery. That's in God's hands, and we believe in that. William McCullough, long as he's able to get up and move like he used to. Well, it's funny you should say that, because not I'd say an hour after the surgery, they actually had him walking. The physical therapist came in, had him get up, walk around the room, and when she was satisfied that he could do that, she took him into the hallway, and he walked up and down the hospital's corridor, the hallway. So he's going to be just fine. He's a trooper. He really does well in recovery. He plays through the pain like you absolutely have to after any major surgery. Andreea Mallory says, you look like Michigan video maker with that hat on. I don't know if you know who that person is, but he does food reviews. I don't, but I'll have to look him up later on when I get a chance. Robert Jones asks, hey Matt, how are you? Doing just fine, just chilling in the Buick, waiting for my buddy Jeff to finish up with his appointments. We got 7 people here. I'm really surprised. I'm glad. I usually try to announce them, but I didn't know I was gonna have that much extra time. I'll tell you guys what I did. Got here around 2:30, and that was actually, yeah, right around 2:30, which was his first appointment, and then he's not out till 6. So I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? So I looked on the phone, and I said, you know what? MacArthur Center is about 1.5 miles from here, so I decided to walk over there. Walked in there and got myself a Charlie's chicken cheesesteak and some French fries. Delicious. I actually did a mini review for the vlog about that today. Then I walked MacArthur Center for a while. I got up to about 20,000 steps, and then when I left MacArthur, I went and walked over to the CHKD on Monticello, which was about another mile, maybe 1.25 miles away. And I wound up getting a couple items, which I'm not going to tell you because they're going to be in the vlog later. And then I walked back here. So it's 4:38 now. I have about 25,000 steps, and I fully expect to get to 30,000 steps today. If I do get to 30,000, which I do, I will go ahead and post that up on Facebook and Instagram for you guys that follow my fitness lifestyle journey, let's say. Robert Jones says hi. ZZ's Game says hi. Yep, Dad's doing just fine. I'm not going to keep answering those questions. If you guys can help me out that have been here for a few minutes, let everybody know that's coming in now that he's doing just fine. Take another sip of coffee here. I'm trying to cut back on my coffee drinking. I'm starting to realize that the reason I have to take a blood pressure pill is because I do drink so much coffee. At my current weight, there should be no reason my blood pressure is that high. And the doctor kind of agrees with me, but I have to wean off gradually. I actually drink the equivalent of about 5 cups of coffee a day because I drink 2 of these. This one is 18 ounce, so a cup of coffee is, let's say, 8 ounces, and I only fill this up about 3/4, so I do 16 ounce, and I do 2 of those, and then I usually have 1 other coffee later on at night in the in a mug. So I do the 2 in the morning before noon, and then I have 1 more at night. So what I'm doing now is I'm cutting out the coffee that I drink at night, and I'm just going to go with the 4 cups that I have in the morning. I may cut back even further than that. Just going to depend on how my body handles it, because when you start backing off on caffeine, you can actually go through the DTs, just like when you're cutting out alcohol or anything worse than that. You can go through that, so I got to wean off gradually. Oh, sorry guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hit the wrong button there. You can see I'm in the YMCA lot, which is where I have to be. That's where they wanted us to park, actually. ZZ Games asks, what video editing software do you use? I just use Windows Movie Maker. Always have, probably always will. The one I use is Windows Movie Maker 2012, which is the last good version. They did release one for Windows 10, but it's really nothing like the full-featured Windows Movie Maker 2012. I can't remember what they called it, but it was really only for like making slideshows. You really couldn't even edit your entire video. What you would do is you would add a video to it, and it would pick and choose segments of that video and would make like a slideshow. It was total junk. Oh boy, I'm starting to lose light. Let me start the car up here real quick, because I'm actually, believe it or not, I actually have the dome lights on, and I don't want the battery to run low, so let that run for a few minutes. Do you notice that when I started the car, the lights got a lot brighter? I don't know, I think it's a feature with the LeSabre. The dome lights can only get so bright when you're running on battery power, and that's actually good because if the battery runs dead, to access it, you have to get it under the back, because that's where GM, in their infinite wisdom, decided that the battery for this car needed to go. I love this mug. I got this at the CHKD over here for like $3. And this mug is so well insulated. I made this coffee at 10 a.m. this morning. It's 4:42, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5, almost 6 hours later, it's still warm. It's not hot, but it's warm. Ah, so good. All right, come on, let's get some questions here. Anybody else? I'm not sure I understand that question. Robert Jones asked, matter? What is that clip to the sun? Oh, to the sun visor? It's my Bluetooth speaker. That's how you guys are actually hearing me right now. Oh, I kind of move around a little bit. Oh, what a beautiful day, though. It's extremely windy. I would say we've had 35 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts all day long. Sustained wind has been about 20 to 25 miles per hour, and they said that was going to be par for the course pretty much for today and the beginning of tomorrow. If whoop, lost you guys there. No, I'm still here. When the weather starts getting better, we're going to go ahead and take our bikes out. As a matter of fact, I need to get into the shed tonight and see if the bikes need to have air put in their tires, probably do some other maintenance, a little bit of lubing to the different vital components so it doesn't fall apart when we first get on it. Do you live in the Eastern time zone? In Canada, it's only 3:44. Yes, I do. I am in the Eastern Central Time, or EST time zone. So we're an hour ahead of you. You must be in the Central time zone. So probably Ontario somewhere, I'm guessing. Funny story about that. My father is Canadian, French Canadian. So when we used to go up to Quebec, because that's where he was from, we would still be in the same time zone. Quebec is in the Eastern time zone. And I thought Ontario was too, but I could be wrong. You guys would have to tell me about that. But I know for certain Quebec is in the Eastern time zone. One thing I'm going to have to do with this LeSabre, I'm just noticing I'm having intermittent problems with the power steering pump. I don't know if it's low on fluid because I haven't really found the reservoir yet, or it's the pump itself, but I have a hunch I may be having to put a power steering pump in this thing, which really isn't a big deal. I mean, that might be a couple of $100, but as good as this thing's been, I would put it in there. I would actually probably honestly put a transmission in this Buick if I had to. That's how much I trust this thing. I got this Buick it was about 4 or 5 months ago for about $1,500. I had 137,135 miles on it when I got it. It now has 138,135 miles. So I put 1,000 miles on this thing without having to do anything but regular maintenance. Oil change. I changed the air filter and the cabin air, or the air intake filter and the cabin air filter. And this thing's been rock solid reliable. I have to tell you, I love this vehicle. And if you guys are, you know, especially college age kids, if you guys are in college, you're looking for a good, reliable vehicle that's not going to break the bank, go with an old Buick, a LeSabre, a Park Avenue, you know, anything with the 3800 Series 2 or Series 3 engine. I mean, you could go with something newer like a Buick LaCrosse or Lucerne, which has the 3800 Series 3 engine, but you're going to have to shell out a lot more money, and it really isn't necessary. You can get a Buick LeSabre like this. This is a 2000. You can get a Buick LeSabre like this all day long for $1,500, $2,000, with 140, maybe upwards to 200,000 miles, but that's fine. These things, these 3800 Series 2 engines are known to go 250, 300,000 miles easy. So it's like money in the bank. And that's one thing I never understood. people wanting to buy brand new cars. Yeah, I understand the prestige. Like, oh yeah, I just went out to the dealer. I got myself a brand new Daewoo Laganza, or I got a brand new Ferrari. And isn't it so nice? I can keep up with the Joneses. I can show this off to all my friends. Yeah, it's nice until you realize you'll be paying for that car for the next 6 years. And I kind of made that mistake myself with the van, because a lot of you guys know I still have my 2010 Chrysler Town and Country, and I'm still making payments on that, believe it or not. Now, that I bought as a business vehicle. I use that for computer halls. But now, in hindsight, I'm thinking that maybe that wasn't such a smart purchase, because honestly, this car is big enough that I can handle most any size computer hall. And for the ones that maybe are a little bit too big for this, I have access to my father's truck. So I'm still on the fence as to what I want to do with the Chrysler Town and Country. It may be going away. I may decide to sell it in the near future. I'm still debating about that. And honestly, my dad's expressed interest in purchasing it from me, so we'll have to see what happens there. Nobody's asking me questions? Oh, Manitoba. Okay. Yeah, so you're a little bit further west than I am. So we got 6 watchers and 4 likes. Come on, this is a Q&A. You guys ask me pretty much anything you want within reason. Go ahead. Ask away. Hopefully that's not bothering you guys. I just figured this was a lot easier for you guys to hear me. Whenever I'm filming vlogs in the car, I always use this Bluetooth speaker because it's closer to my mouth than the built-in microphone in the phone, so helps out a little bit there. Really good. Really good. Let's see, what else did I want to do? Oh, ZZ's Games asks, how many computers do you currently have? Well, let me think. Let's see. I would have to say 9 or 10. 5 of them are computers we use in the house. The other 4 or 5 are ones that I've refurbished that are pending to be sold. I actually haven't listed anything yet because in my area, we're a big military area. So as most of you guys probably know that live in any military area, the military gets paid on the 15th and the 30th of every month, and this is the 26th. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a whole bunch of computers ready, and I'm going to list them for sale on the 29th. That way they're freshly listed for when the military people get their paycheck, and they'll be ready to come and buy the computers from me. Because honestly, if I was to list them now, 3 or 4 days before, I would hardly get any calls, probably none at all, because we are, at least in this area, a huge military bases here. We have Navy bases. We have a Coast Guard base here. In this area, it's about 40 to 60% military saturation, depending on what statistic you go by. So we'll average that out. We'll say about 50%. Good question, by the way. No more questions? Nobody wants to know anything? Really? You guys ask me so many questions when in the comments. That's why I try to do these open forum live streams, because it's hard for me to answer every single question in the comments section. Actually, it's virtually impossible. I'd have to hire a full-time assistant just to do that. Oh, we're up to 9 people, and we're 19 minutes in. I'm glad that I remembered to bring my charger with me. I don't think I actually have one in the van, so if I had the van with me, we wouldn't be able to do this, because fun fact, or maybe not so fun fact, live streams zap the energy from my cell phone's battery real quickly. Can you do a week-long live stream soon? I can't make any promises because a couple of reasons. One, my mom is going away on vacation in the next couple of weeks. And number 2, that means that I have to take care of my dad when he's at home recovering. So I don't know if I'll be able to. We'll have to see how that plays out. If he's pretty mobile and he only needs me for the basics, like maybe for helping him up and down stairs, then yeah, I could probably do the week-long live stream event. But if it's worse than that, it's probably going to be at least a three weeks or a month out from now. Google, serious question. What is a prolapse? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe someone else here knows. Mark Covington says that hat on the top of your head looks like a Frank Sinatra hat. Where did you find it at? I actually got this at Dillard's in Greenbrier Mall. This was like a $35 hat. That was on clearance for, I think I paid $7.35, and after tax it was like $8 and some change. But I take your point. This does look like something that the Rat Pack would have worn. Probably any one of them, Frank, Dean, or Sammy. Though you're right, this is kind of a Frank Sinatra hat. And I actually like this, especially on a windy day like this. Since I got my hair cut about a week ago, the wind gets into my scalp and makes me very cold, so this actually keeps my head very, very warm. Good question, by the way. I gotta keep an eye on my coolant here. I'm letting the car run for a while to charge the battery up, and it makes for a little bit better viewing for you guys too. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can finish this up. I try not to eat or drink anything other than water after 4 p.m., but because I was outside for so long in the cold, my blood is thinned and I need to have a little bit more sugar in my body. So that's why I'm going to continue to drink this coffee until it's gone. Is there a name for the hat? Somebody told me it's called a fedora or a trilby. I think it is a fedora, if I'm not mistaken. I love the check pattern on it too. I think that's really cool. And then the band here with the little tie at the end. It's a stylish hat. And ever since I lost the weight, I honestly, before, when I was heavy, I could hardly care the way I looked. I felt like I'm fat. Who cares how I dress? I used to wear sweatpants. I used to wear shirts with holes in them. But now that I lost the weight and I feel more comfortable in my own body, I want to look good. So I know I need to wear clothes that accent my slimmer figure. And I hope you guys think about that too. But even if you're heavy, you still want to look your best. I was not right the way I was thinking when I was really heavy. It was just because I was kind of in a depression. But you always want to put your best foot forward, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come knocking at the door. You know, if you look good and you're out, hey, maybe a news personality will spot you and say, hey, I like the way you look. Maybe we can work out a job here. Heck, I've heard a lot of news anchors, that's how they got hired. Somebody at the station saw them on the street, heard them talking, thought they spoke very well, and decided they'd be good on TV. So always look your best and always put your best foot forward. Mom is going to Mexico. Definitely to Mexico. I can't remember exactly where, and I probably wouldn't say, because I don't know. I don't want to violate her privacy on that matter. Power Realm wants me to be a pimp. He said I should get a purple hat with a gold feather. Come on, the only people that wore hats like that are pimps. I mean, they're stylish, but no, I don't think that's gonna happen. Hey, I could be the Mac Daddy of Hampton Roads, just like Hank Hill was the Mac Daddy of Heimlich County. If you guys are King of the Hill fans, you'll get that reference right away. I don't know why the chat window's sluggish like that. Daniel Butler asks, are you still liking the Buick? I love this Buick. This has been a great vehicle all around. I haven't had any major issues with this. Only minor stuff, basically maintenance. I did an oil change, changed the air filter and the air intake filter and the cabin air filter, and that's all I've had to do to it. It's been rock solid the whole time, and I fully expect to get 200,000 miles out of this thing. Should be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and turn the engine off. Don't want to be wasting fuel. Don't want Al Gore to get mad at me. Still having some allergy problems, though. That's something that really comes to the surface this time of year. And it's funny. Season changes. Winter to spring, spring to summer, summer to fall. Always have allergies. Am I ready for the pollen season? Yes, I am. Because, fun fact, of everything I'm allergic to, I am not allergic to pollen. I'm allergic to mold, mildew, must, grass, pretty much everything, but I am not allergic to pollen. God bless me with not having a pollen allergy. So yeah, bring it on. Bring pollen on. Though I know it's kind of bad for the rest of you. This guy's putting something in his Prius. I actually like the Toyota Priuses. I know they kind of have a reputation as a eco-friendly kind of soccer mom, West Coast person vehicle, but I really like them. There's a lot of cargo space in there, and you can't really deny a vehicle that gets over 40 miles to the gallon. I mean, it's amazing. And those hybrid batteries actually do last quite a long time. Oh, I hope I don't get hit. Please don't hit my car. He's going to back up again. It's close. Oh, thank goodness. I'll tell you, this is a very, very narrow parking garage. I almost hit this car next to me when I came in. Shh, don't tell anybody. Daniel Baker says, I live in Richmond, so the pollen is pretty bad here, LOL. I'm surprised because you guys are usually colder than us, and the pollen really hasn't been that bad here yet at all. But I guess it just depends. And it depends on if you're in a suburban area or a city area. I mean, there's some pretty rural areas of Richmond that I'm sure have pretty bad pollen. Max Petrick says, I bought a Dell Latitude 5480 i7, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabyte SSD. Hope it lasts a while. Would Windows 7 be stupid to use even though it's a 6th generation? Yes, Windows 7 is not a very good option anymore because the extended support is going out next year. And when it's out of extended support, you're not going to get those security updates that you need to basically protect yourself from intrusions, viruses, adware, spyware, all that stuff. Matter of fact, I talked in great length with a computer buddy of mine, actually two different computer buddies, one that's in who's a president of the Mid-Hudson Computer Users Group, and another one that writes code, actually as a programmer, and they both said the same thing, that once the extended support is gone, Microsoft will not be putting any security updates out for it at all. So no, go with Windows 10 or at the very least Windows 8 or 8.1. I would just go with Windows 10, honestly. And I know there are a lot of you guys out there that do not like Windows 10, but that's where it's headed now. Microsoft saw to that. They're very smart. They said, you know what? We are going to end the extended support for Windows 7. We're going to put out Windows 8.1 or Windows 8, which people hate. So we did that already. So let's go ahead and just put all of our eggs in one basket. We'll go to Windows 10 and force everyone to upgrade. Now, as you guys know, I am a big fan of Windows 10. I don't mind it at all, but I know there are people out there that absolutely hate it. And for good reason. It's, it is kind of intrusive. Microsoft can spy on a lot of what you do, though there are ways to turn that off. The best thing I can tell you to do if you don't want Windows 10, go Linux. Rock Fantastic. I like that name. The Gores get mad quite a bit. Al is a environmentalist freak. Tipper doesn't like rock and metal. Boy, Have they seemed bored? I don't know. I don't like to get into a political debate, and you guys know, most of you guys already know my political affiliations, but Al Gore just rubbed me the wrong way. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against recycling and trying to preserve our precious earth, but I think that people like him just go too far. I mean, you can't expect to get rid of all cars. Pretty much the internal combustion engine is here to stay. I'm sorry, it's going to be impossible to get rid of that. Like Cortez wants to get rid of all polluting vehicles, basically all vehicles that aren't electric. It's just not going to happen. It's not feasible. Can you imagine the scope of even attempting to do something like that? And it's not just the vehicles. It's not just, cars, trucks, buses. Which they're talking about trains, airplanes, pretty much anything that runs on a fuel. I just don't see it happening. It's just not going to be feasible. And I think they're going to realize that eventually, but it's not going to stop them from trying. And yes, I know I am not a big fan of the environmentalist freakish movement. So that's where I stand. No more. I'm going to try to not talk about politics or the environment here, because that's really just not what my channel's about. Robert Jones says, upgraded to Windows 10 this weekend. I do like 10, but I need an SSD. Yes, an SSD will help tremendously. Boot times between an SSD and a regular conventional hard drive. Conventional hard drive, Windows 10 takes about 45 seconds to a minute to boot. With an SSD, it's more like 15 to 20 seconds. Now, there are two other options if you can't afford an SSD. I keep in stock a bunch of these HGST server hard drives, which are very, very well made 7200 RPM hard drives, which have a pretty high cache. I think it's 128K cache. And that alone helps the computer boot. Like, I can actually put one of those in, build a Windows 10 system with one of those, boot off that drive, and instead of taking maybe 45, 50 seconds to boot, I can boot Windows 10 with that drive in about 30 seconds. Another option is to get a hybrid drive, which is basically like Intel's Optane. Basically, it's like a small amount of SSD memory as a boot partition, and then the rest of the hard drive is conventional. But yes, if you can afford it, your best option is to get a solid state hard drive. You'll get the most speed, bar none, out of your computer that way. Oh, so we got 9 watchers, 6 likes. Come on, if you guys like this live stream, help me out. Click that like button, please. And yes, the super chats are enabled, so if you guys want to donate to the channel, please help me out that way. Donations will always go to help improve the channel, put better videos out there. Maybe even if I got enough of them, I could hire somebody to do the editing for me, because you guys know how bad I am at editing. I'm more of a personality than the editor here. That's all right. You guys don't have to apologize if you have to leave. I totally get it. I mean, you guys, you know what? I try to go to your live streams as much as I can, but life happens, and we have to do things when we have to do things. I think I'm almost out of coffee. Oh, man, that's good. Gonna keep an eye on my dome lights. If I see them starting to dim, I'm gonna go ahead and start the car one more time. So we got 8 watchers and 7 likes. That's not too bad. I know this isn't the ideal time to do a live stream, but a lot of you guys watch these when YouTube re-uploads them. And I do like that feature that YouTube automatically uploads the live stream after the fact. That way, people that are at work or just couldn't participate in the whole thing can watch it later on. It's similar to on-demand programming, or, you know what, a DVR basically. Let's see. Anybody else want to ask me a question? Do you prefer iMac? Do I prefer Mac or Windows? Oh, definitely Windows. I have used Macs in the past. I own several iMacs, and I also had a couple of the old Power Mac G5 towers. See how many of you guys remember those. The last operating system I ever used was OS 10.7, which I think was Lion, if I'm not mistaken. But I found I couldn't get used to the operating system. I had used Windows for so many years that trying to go to the Mac OS was just too much of a stretch. Oh my goodness. I tell you, this is a busy parking garage. You guys notice people are coming in and out of here left and right. I'm telling you. Oh, we're back up to 9 people. Something I wanted to show you guys the other day. Oh, somebody had asked me the type of mount that I use when I'm filming the live streams or the vlogs in the car. And basically what I use is I use a suction cup mount that has a normal tripod end on it, a little screw with a washer. And then I attach one of these. These are basically a clamp hook that I actually clamp my entire phone in. And that's what I'm using right now. This is just an extra one that I keep in the center console. And that's how I'm able to film the videos in the car. You can get these very cheaply on eBay. They're called suction cup, cell phone suction cup mounts for windshields. They're like $5 or $6, and they actually do really well. But my advice to you is get the short one. They have 2 different kinds. They have a short one, which is about this long, and they have a long one, which is maybe about that long. The long one is more convenient, and it gives you more angles, but the problem is it tends to be very shaky if you're driving around. The shorter one is a lot more sturdy. So that would be my recommendation. Go with the shorter versus the longer necked one, I guess you would call it. Stephen Barber goes, I forgot you were alive, LOL. I was messing with my Performa 6200 CD. Got my RCA VCR. It works good. I love it a lot. Brings back my childhood. Yes, I saw that post on Facebook. RCA made a pretty good VCR, especially back in the late 80s, early 90s. But as we got into the early 2000s, they started making them more and more in China instead of Japan, and that's when they became black plastic crap. And you could almost guarantee that after the first couple of years, they'd be eating a few of your tapes. For your vlogs, do you use a phone camera or a camcorder? I use my cell phone, my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. I used to use a Digital 8 camcorder, a Sony DCR TRV 280. But it's just too hard to upload those videos now because I actually have to plug that into my computer via the FireWire port, and I actually have to play back the tape in real time. I have to record that file to the computer, and then and only then can I put in Movie Maker. So it just takes too much time. I may use it once in a while, like if I'm filming a vintage piece of stereo equipment or audio video equipment, then I might break it out, but it's been a long time. Power Realm asks, how do you keep the motivation up to keep making videos? It's a very good question. There are times that it's difficult. There are times that I just kind of get depressed or I get tired and I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like doing the video today. But honestly, 2 things keep me motivated. And one is you guys, my audience. I know a lot of you guys like seeing the content. You want to be able to participate in it. So that's number 1. And number 2, it's kind of therapy for me. I tend to be really shy in social situations. So to be able to interact with you guys like this is therapeutic for me. So I figure it's a win-win for the both of us. Very good question, by the way. Power Realm says, I have trouble with keeping consistently making videos. Well, best thing I can tell you to do is set yourself a schedule. Say, okay, I want to make 3 videos this week. And write it down, or better yet, put it in your Google Calendar saying, okay, I'm going to make a video on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And even better, decide what each video is going to be about. Say, okay, I'm going to do a video on Monday, a regular vlog. Then maybe on Wednesday, I'll do a tech video. And then on Friday, I'll go ahead and maybe do a food review. That way, you're kind of beholden to yourself, and you're also beholden to your YouTubers, because they get used to you making videos on those specific days. Now, will there be days that you may not feel like it and days that you miss? Yeah, we're all gonna do that, but be as consistent as you possibly can. No one out there is going to hold it against you if you miss a day, you miss a video. Well, maybe some people will, but you know what? It's not their problem. As long as you're doing the best you can possibly do, that's all anybody can ask. Well, we're up to 14 watchers, and my phone's focus is going crazy again. I'm telling you, I am going to be upgrading this phone very soon if they don't get this thing fixed. Wow, we got a whole bunch of people tuning in right now. We got a Coda 1987, i386, Power Realm is here. Mark Covington wants to know how Milo and Baxter are currently doing. Well, I'm not sure because nobody's home at the moment. I'm sure they're raising some HE double hockey sticks, probably on the dining room table, maybe on the kitchen table. But you know what? Cats are going to be cats. But they're fine. They bugged Mom at about 5:30 this morning because Dad is in the hospital, and he usually is the one that gets up around that time and feeds him. So Mom had to get up, give him food, because you know what? You can't get me out of bed at 5:30. If there was a fire in the house, you couldn't get me out of bed that early. So you know what? I'm grateful for Mom for doing that for me. I don't know what it is, tubers. There are certain things that I absolutely can't do. I may wake up like at 5 in the morning, but I physically cannot get my butt out of bed until about 7:30 or 8. If I tried, I'd be like a walking zombie. You guys heard of The Walking Dead? I'd be just like that. What is that? Grookie Gang says, hey, just dropping by random live streams. Nice. Thank you for stopping by. i386 says, I went to 2 different Goodwills today in a big city. Did not have anything. One had an older XP AMD system. CPU fan was in the case and missing side panel. Yeah, I'd probably pass on that too. I stopped buying XP systems about 5 or 6 years ago because most of them you can't do anything with. A lot of them, even to be able to upgrade them to Windows Vista or Windows 7, you have to upgrade the video card, the RAM, and sometimes even the CPU, because if they're like an older Pentium 4 system, even though they can physically run Windows 7 and even Windows 10, you wouldn't want to run them on there because it would be just way too slow to physically do anything with it. I'm going to go a little closer here so you guys can see me a little better. Sam Hodgson, I managed to pick up an HP Pavilion laptop with a Core i5 4200U, 12 gigs of RAM for £10. It works perfectly. That's awesome. That is a killer deal. So basically $20-ish. Can't go wrong with that price. Z's Games asks, what is your main computer? My main rig is a Dell XPS 8700, Core i7 4790, not the K, it's just a regular 4790, clocked at 3.6 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of RAM, crucial ballistic memory in that. What do I have in that? A 240 gigabyte M2 crucial SSD. SSD, the one that's on the motherboard, and a bunch of different hard drives. But trying to remember what the video card is. Video card in that is an AMD R7 360. I'm surprised I remembered that. My memory has not been very good lately, so a lot of times I'll get something in that main setup wrong. All right, 15 watchers and only 8 likes. Come on, help me out a little bit. I need to see a few more thumbs up there. Come on, if you like this video, take a minute and click that thumbs up because it does help me, believe it or not. Whoop. Oh, did I kill my battery? Uh-oh. Hope I didn't kill my battery. No, it just shut off. Probably a automatic shut off so you don't run your battery down. Grooky Gang, if you had to turn into an object for a week or longer, if you wish, what would you be and why? You couldn't move, speak, but still see, hear, think, etc. It's a good question. Well, I'd say I probably want to turn into a car. And the reason behind that would be even though I couldn't really move, I still could move. And I probably would move. I'd get to see all the different sites. Heck, if I was really lucky, maybe I'd become a rental car. That way I'd be able to see a whole lot of different sites. Heck, I might be able to see the entire country in a week. It's a good question. I've really thought about that. What about you guys? What inanimate object would you guys like to turn into for a week? How about that? Let's push that question out. How long would I stay as a car? I could probably mentally handle a week or two. After that, I think I'd want to become a human again because I'd want to be able to actually interact with people more than being just an inanimate object. Makes me think about Pinocchio when he wanted to become a real boy, and it took him a heck of a lot longer than it would take me to cut back from being a car. How'd we get on this conversation? Yeah, you know what? It's open forum. Yes, I 386 asks, are you in a parking garage? Yeah, I am in a parking garage. I was going to move out, but parking in Norfolk is very limited, so I figured I'd be better just to stay here. So I'm making the best of this situation, which is really fine. I'm getting kind of tired of sitting though, so I think we're going to be ending this here in a few minutes. Crookie Gang, okay, he has an addendum to that question. He says, what if you couldn't be any machine or electronic device? That's a hard one. How about a telephone pole? Because I'd still be able to be outside. I'd still be able to survey my domain. I'd say a telephone pole. You know, I've this question has come up before, and I think I remember years ago when I was in group therapy. I think this was one of the questions that they asked to kind of help you think more out of the box. Because, believe it or not, somebody like me that has Asperger's, we kind of tend to have tunnel vision when it comes to our thinking, and the idea is we need to go ahead and broaden our horizons a little bit, and that's one of the questions they used to ask me when I was in group therapy. I'm almost positive. I386 wants to be a Windows 98 computer. Well, I just hope you don't crash. Because I'll be honest with you, Windows 98 was a decent operating system, but at least in my opinion, it did tend to crash quite a bit back in the day. Can you imagine if you were that computer, it crashed, your user or your owner didn't know that it crashed, and you were stuck in limbo for heaven knows how long? And that wouldn't be fun. I don't think I'd want to be a computer, honestly. I think there are too many potential failures there. Think about it. You might get a computer virus, which would actually be a real virus if you were a computer. Now, I think I'd pass on that one. Stephen Barber says, I want to be a Macintosh Performa 6200 CD, LOL. Well, you know what? That might be all right, because those older Macs, especially if they're running OS 9, were pretty much impervious to viruses. So, yeah, I guess I could understand that. That's good. I like that. Was it Windows 98 that... I thought it was Windows 95 that crashed when Bill Gates was demonstrating it. I could be wrong, but I want to say it was Windows 95. Huh. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Let me know. It could have been Windows 98. I remember that it happened. I just remembered it as being Windows 95. Okay, it was Windows 98 First Edition. Oh, yeah. Windows 98 First Edition was a disaster. For a fun fact, what my first desktop computer that I owned was one that our good friend Javier built. Shout out Javier if you're watching this. And the only copy of Windows I had for it was Windows 98 First Edition. Loaded on there, lasted about a week, and it crashed. Wound up having to reload it, lasted about a month, it crashed again. And then I think I may have gotten another 3 months out of it before it crashed again. And finally, I broke down, went on eBay, and bought a copy of Windows 98 Second Edition Upgrade. And ever since then, didn't have a problem with that computer. So yeah, Windows 98 First Edition was a total mess. Checking on my, I want to make sure that the power cable's still plugged in, because if I run out of cell phone power, I'm going to be in big trouble because I won't be able to communicate with Jeff. Matt, what is the difference between Windows 10 and 10 Pro? It really isn't a huge difference. It has mainly to do with the security, file versus folder level security. And I think Pro has a few other features. I'm not an expert on the differences, but if you Google it, it'll actually tell you. There are charts on there. It'll tell you Windows 10 Home versus Windows 10 Pro. But I know a lot of it has to do with the security features. And I think virtualization is not available in Windows 10 Home, but it is in Windows 10 Pro. I386 says, my compact with Windows 98 First Edition always crashed. I was always calling compact. To be honest, that is how I learned so much, is calling all the time. Yeah, our first compact was a Compact Presario 9546. Running Windows 95, the First Edition. It wasn't 95B because that computer did not have USB on it. That thing was a total mess. We had so many problems with that computer. Hard drive issues with compatibility between the video card and Windows 95, because that computer actually shipped originally with Windows 3.1. But at the last minute, Windows 95 came out and they decided to pull that shipment, and they didn't even load it with Windows 95. When we got the computer, it actually had Windows 3.1 on it. We had a coupon that we had to send in to Compaq. Compaq then sent us a package with 32 Windows 95 floppy disks. And wouldn't you know it, 2 of those disks were bad. So what we wound up having to do, Compaq actually gave us a website that we had to connect with our built-in 14.4 baud modem, download the Windows 95 image, which took about a day, and then we had to load it ourselves onto 32 floppy disks. All right, tubers, I just got the word from my buddy Jeff. He has just finished his appointment, so I need to go and end the live stream here today. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the vlog that's going to come up later on this afternoon, or probably more realistic, going to upload it later on tonight. Thank you for attending. Please continue to like and subscribe.